Hello and welcome to my G-Shock Solar Power Multiband 6 and Bluetooth watch guide. I'm going to go through a number of G-Shocks, starting with the dumbest to the smartest. I haven't really seen a video where someone talks about those three features. The 200 meter water resistance, I haven't really seen a G-Shock that isn't 200 meters water resistant. We'll start off with my dumbest G-Shock, I guess, which is my GMD S5600. It's a little bit like a 5600, that's one to give you an example of, but it's just smaller. Perhaps in some of the literature somewhere they may well refer to it as like women's G-Shock, and it is smaller. Maybe if you've got really thin wrists, you'll probably get away with wearing something like this more than the classic. But what I mean by the dumbest is it has got an odd layout. The light is down there, which is really strange. It's the only G-Shock that I have that has that. It's got the alarm, timer and stopwatch, and that's pretty much it. The screen is a little bit smaller. The numbers are thinner compared to the standard one, but it's just a G-Shock, 200 meters water resistant, runs off a battery. So no solar power, no Bluetooth or anything like that. So that is my dumbest G-Shock. You will need to be changing the time of that, you know, with the daylight savings time twice a year. Now it would probably be this point where a lot of collectors would show you a 5600. This is a 5600, but it's solar powered. You can tell that it's solar powered because it says Tough Solar on there, but Casio do make one of these that isn't solar powered. It just saves you a little bit of money, and I think they've only just upgraded the standard ones of these to have the LED light instead of the luminescent light, which means that the battery life can last you about 5 years instead of just the 2. So this is quite accurate. The display, the LCD display, is bigger. The numbers are bigger. It's got this daylight saving time feature on there, and you've got the auto light where you tilt the watch on your wrist and it lights up. You've got world time, alarm, stopwatch and timer. So you know you've got the world timer feature. But although this one has a battery, it is solar powered and it has a couple more features. So it's a little bit smarter than that standard one. Then we get onto the Bluetooth. So this one right here, the display isn't the most legible in all of these translucent series, but it has the same kind of makeup as that 5600. Has the world time, stopwatch, timer, alarm. Now, this is where it gets interesting. It doesn't have solar power. So it's got Bluetooth, which it will connect to your phone a few times a day automatically. It doesn't use that much power doing that. I think it uses considerably less power quickly checking and updating the time compared to the Multiband 6, which can go on for like 10, 12 minutes and so on. It does have a light and it fades out, as you could see. If you press and hold the light, you can then enable the auto light. But because it's Bluetooth, it's clever that I think after 6 hours, that feature auto turns itself off. And even if you select it in your phone to have it on, it will switch itself off. And I think that's to conserve battery because, as I say, this isn't solar powered. So your battery is going to last 3 or 4 years or so for this one. And because it's got the Bluetooth, you can connect it to your phone. You can set certain things like alarms and world times and how long the light goes on for, the format of it, things like that. So it is smarter. You know, it's the smarter of these three. Just wish it had solar power as well. Casio have released a few recently that have both. I think the Darwin edition has both, and it actually has Multiband 6 as well. Very rare for a G-Shock to have Bluetooth, solar power and multiband in the resin. Very rare. Next we have Bluetooth Solar. I don't have a 5600 that has Bluetooth Solar, but I do have this legendary 2100, or the Casio. Just be wary that Casio do make some of these without the solar power and Bluetooth, like this one. And if you're fine with that and you really like the colour and the design, then I wouldn't really let that put you off. It would be amazing if all of these had the Bluetooth and the solar power, but you do pay a little bit more for them. So again, much like the all black version there with the Bluetooth, this one actually has solar power as well. Has an LCD display too, has similar functions like the world time, a stopwatch, a timer, an alarm, and you can set certain things on the watch from your phone. So that's quite a smart watch, you know, G-Shock speaking wise. So that has both of those features combined. So it's a big step up from that dumb G-Shock, I guess. Then we have another 5600, 5610U, I think it is. Now this one, many of you will be very familiar with. It is a classic. It's the newer version with the LED light. It's got the Multiband 6. The only reason why I put it higher compared to the Bluetooth is it really depends where you live in the world. I mean, if you're not anywhere near like those radio towers that transmit to these Multiband 6 watches, then yeah, the Bluetooth watches are going to be absolutely fine, especially if you get one in one that's solar powered, because you got your phone with you a lot of the time. Even if you don't, it'll try to update the time when it can. But this one is smart in that it's undiscoverable, if that makes sense. If you want a watch that is, you can just pick up anytime, and so long as it's charged, which doesn't take that long to charge at all, and it can last for almost 2 years, I think, then this is the watch to go for, really, because it's not hugely expensive and you can just pick it up. It will always have the correct time and you don't need to worry about it at all. You also don't need to worry about it broadcasting a Bluetooth signal or anything like that. It just receives that correct time from the radio tower, and that, along with sunlight, is all it needs. So yeah, these two, like combined, are pretty smart watches in a way. This one, if you're not near any of the radio towers, or if you travel a lot, I guess, then that'll connect to your Bluetooth. Solar powered, fantastic. This one, you know, if you do live in the radio tower range, and again, you just want a watch that you can pick up and it'll be correct. Like I say, you can set the Bluetooth ones to update their time to your phone when they're not that far, and you can also press one button just to update the time from your phone. It takes a few seconds, if that, to update. Those two are pretty smart. These two have a cool feature, but definitely those two features combined in these two is where it's at. Now, there is a final category of G-Shocks, and I hope this video has saved you many minutes, many hours trawling through all the different G-Shock models and things to find out, you know, oh, which ones have Bluetooth, which ones have solar power, and which ones have Multiband 6. This final category has everything, and these are the metal G-Shocks. They come in a number of colours and even different materials like the titanium, which is very light. But these metal G-Shocks, they're solar powered again, they're Bluetooth, and they have Multiband 6. You cannot have any of these metal G-Shocks either pick up a Multiband 6 signal or a Bluetooth signal. That feature has to be on for both of those things. So what I mean by that is, if it's on receive mode and you've connected it to your Bluetooth app, the Casio watch app, then it will always default to Bluetooth. If it can't pick up a signal of Bluetooth, it will still continue to try and pick up a signal of Bluetooth. It's not suddenly going to go to Multiband 6. The only way to keep these metal watches picking up a Multiband 6 signal is to not register them on the Bluetooth app, or if you have registered on them, on the Bluetooth app, forget them. Like delete the device off your app. You can always re-register them on there, absolutely fine, at any point. But if you do that, if you don't connect them or you forget them off your app, then you can just update them with the Multiband 6 as normal. You can press a button like a normal Multiband 6 watch to receive a signal, but that's going to be overridden by the Bluetooth the next time it does its auto update thing. The feature that isn't on these that I wish had, it's not that it forces you down the route of connecting it to the Bluetooth app. It's probably more of the design and the aesthetics of these metal ones, is it won't show you the charge level. So on this 5600, as you can see, it says LMH, which is low, medium, high, and it's got a bar high. These metal ones, they don't have that there. Another thing that you're probably seeing there as well is the viewing angle. Now it's probably very prevalent there. All of the metal G-Shocks have the STN display, which is a super twisted pneumatic display, which is a technology that makes that LCD clearer for better viewing angles. So if that annoys you with any of the standard G-Shocks, that you can't view it at a certain angle, no such problem with any of the metal G-Shocks. And it's just clearer and easier to read at night as well, I find. So there you go. That's my exhaustive guide of, from the dumbest G-Shocks to the smartest G-Shocks. My thoughts on the smartest, most expensive ones, which includes the, £3,000 titanium ones, not having a battery indicator, you don't really miss it. I've never had any of the metal G-Shocks flash up and say low battery or anything like that. But of course I'll keep them in a glass topped case, which always has access to sunlight to keep them charged. Most of the time, just viewing the app, they are fully charged anyway. Another thing I want to say about metal G-Shocks is the titanium ones, like this one, have the STN displays and they have the solar power, the Bluetooth and the Multiband 6. The main difference is the aesthetic and the material used. There are a few 2100s around that are metal, like this one. And even though it is metal, it doesn't have the Multiband 6. So for the same price, but for a different look as your metal G-Shock squares, it does have one feature less. And I'm not sure whether that LCD is an STN display. I'd like to think it is, but I don't have another 2100 that has a negative display to compare them. Hopefully one day we'll get the Multiband 6 on these metal ones too, as an upgrade to the module, like an extra layer of the screen that says, receive or not receive. But currently, this button, the lower left button, if you press and hold that then connects to the app, whereas on the metal G-Shocks, if you press and hold that, that's how you receive your Multiband 6 signal. They would have to swap it over to the D button, which if you press and hold that, that's how you find your phone. It's one thing I need to mention about these two Bluetooth, the metal G-Shocks, is that you can press, if you have connected to the app with the Bluetooth and things, you can press and hold the button and it will make your phone chime, a bit like an Apple Watch would. So I just wanted to add that little bit at the end, that currently 2024, all of the metal G-Shock 2100s don't have the Multiband 6, but the metal squares have everything. I hope you found that useful. I thought I'd share with you my findings through this G-Shock journey, and I hope the videos helped if you're thinking about picking up any of the G-Shocks and you're wondering what features did what, and that not all G-Shocks are equal. Yes, they're very, very tough and they are 200 meters water resistant, but some of the buttons are smaller than others, and some of them have solar power, some don't, some have Multiband 6, some have Bluetooth, some have both, some have everything. But I hope that's helped. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.